not so low as to preclude them from using pack hunting tactics, but
Bro, what happened to this direwolf right here? Good lord. They sent him in to die, bruh. Lordy. Look at what he got him in, bruh. You can't handle all this. She was right. Fellas, we got crazy news. Okay, apparently the Direwolf, it got unvaulted. The Direwolf, just like the double pump and the everything else, got unvaulted, bruh. The devs decided to grow a pair and decided to bring back an old classic. Dude, imagine if God wants to bring back Earth to like season 1. Just a comet, boom. It's Kevin the Cube in real life, gang. Blows up, destroys the planet as we know it. We're back to square one with like cavemen and shit. But fellas, I'm excited. We got more of the big zoo. The big zoo. Y'all really love these videos, so hey, why not? And this was actually uploaded yesterday, alright? But bro, as a scientist myself, news about the direwolf coming back to life. As a scientist again, I can only describe it in one word. Wild. It's crazy, bruh. What else you gonna bring back to life? What species? Imagine they're gonna fuck around and bring back a T-Rex, bruh. They're gonna make an IRL xenomorph, gang. It just eats the scientist whole. It's like it bring back, I don't even know, bruh. You think they can clone back Wilt Chamberlain? Alright, but anyways, let's get straight to it, bro.
it's all over the news. Outside's modding community has successfully managed to mod the Direwolf back into the game as a playable character again.
I wonder who watches Joe Rogan, like the Joe Rogan podcast for like news. Like imagine the guy's like 2 weeks behind on like some crazy world event, right? But then Joe Rogan covers it and he goes like, oh shit, you know, damn. Like imagine if the Joe Rogan podcast was around for like 9/11 and like there was this one guy who just never heard of it. Like his only source of news was the Joe Rogan experience. So when everyone else is in turmoil, he's like, oh, well, what's going on? 2 weeks later, oh no, they hit the tower. Oh my god, they hit the Pentagon!
While obviously this announcement generated a ton of discourse around the scientific and ethical
Bro, you've been cooked since the Ice Age, not gonna lie.
implications of resurrecting extinct characters from previous balance
Nobody tell the Cheetah Main Discord.
patches.
What's up with the Cheetah Main Discord? Oh, those are the weirdos.
What I want to discuss is
What's
the
it called
potential
yet?
impact this
Where
could
you
have
garbage?
on the competitive metagame. Just how overpowered was the Direwolf back during the Ice Age?
Okay.
And where are they most likely to place on the tier list?
Hold on, back here. Putty dude, why? Shut the fuck up, alright? I don't care. But bro, oh my god, I'm gonna play Ark again, bro. The Terror Birds, I love the Terror Birds in Ark, bruh. Oh my god. The Woolly Rock. Ark!
And where are they most likely to place on the tier list in the current meta?
Okay.
First, let's discuss the
Oh my fucking god. Alright, I fixed it, lock in.
Direwolf's base stats. The
Oh.
easiest way to do
Oh, they got a new stat now in this meta? Perception? I haven't been keeping up with the new seasons. I ain't gonna lie, gang. I've been under a rock. I have a job. So I'm a common college student. But I didn't know they added a new stat,
this
bro.
is to compare them to the Grey Wolf. So the most obvious difference is their size,
Yeah.
as they were on average a solid 40% larger than the Grey Wolf,
Damn, Big Beck.
which gave them a much higher HP stack. This allowed them to tank hits that would potentially one-shot a modern wolf, a necessity given how powerful
Damn. Okay, I don't know if they one-shotted that one, but look at the pose he got him. He got to turn him horizontal. It's like a BO2 emblem.
their hunting targets were. Their power stat was also significantly higher, even greater than you'd expect based on their increased size alone. Their broader, heavier skulls granted them a dramatically stronger bite force, enough to easily crack a bone. This is where the Direwolf's stat superiority ends, though. The Direwolf had a lower intelligence stat than modern wolves, on account of their slightly lower brain-to-body mass ratio. Not so low as to preclude them from using pack hunting tactics, but
Bro, what happened to this direwolf right here? Good lord. They sent him in to die, bruh. Lordy. Look at what he got him in, bruh. You can't handle all this. She was right. You can't handle this water park. It was fast, cuz I couldn't handle the water part. This is how the homies found me, gang.
definitely low enough that their ability to sense danger and avoid obvious traps apparently wasn't as sharp. Their legs were thicker and comparatively shorter, making them a bit less nimble and far less capable of distance running than the modern Grey Wolf. For stealth, the Direwolf's bright white coat gave it a massive stealth bonus on snowy terrain, but was otherwise a bit worse than the versatile camouflage of the grays and browns of the modern wolf. Their perception abilities were more or less comparable, and the same goes for the defense stat, as both relied on their thick fur as a form of light armor.
You think Liam Neeson could beat up a direwolf?
As alluded to before, for direwolves, the metagame during the Ice Age was basically constant boss rush mode. Each hunt would center around trying to bring down one of the Ice Age's many behemoths, something like a bison or a giant ground sloth. Their stat spread was excellent for
God damn!
this type of game plan.
What the fuck? What was that? Wait, what the?
Bison or a giant ground sloth. Their stat spread was excellent for this type.
What the hell? What type of background noise, right? I thought we were doing the cool, the chill ass BO2 background music. Then we got this war.
Something like a bison or a giant ground sloth. Their stat.
God. Hey, POV, bro. The first guy to go up against the gorilla. This is the sound this is the sound they make, bro.
Was excellent for this type of game plan. Their high damage, blood loss inflicting bites, and pack hunting tactics were a devastating counter to the high HP herbivores of the time. Their lower mobility was less of an issue than you might expect, since most of their hunting targets weren't going to run away anyway.
Yeah, they're hella slow.
That said, even with their boosted HP compared to Grey Wolves, engaging Pleistocene megafauna head
about to grab his balls. Oh,
was
damn.
extremely risky, and could very easily have resulted in getting sent back to your respawn point if you got careless. But the larger issue was the Direwolf's matchups versus the other apex predators of the Ice Age. After securing a kill, characters like the short-faced bear and Smilodon would often bully them away from the meat, and could easily delete their entire HP bar if they tried to fight back.
Damn.
Because of this poor matchup spread, direwolves were often forced to eat as quickly as possible, or to wait for the more dangerous players to finish looting before getting to reap the rewards of their own successful hunts. In this scenario, their incredible bite force had the bonus effect of letting them get more value out of a carcass than other predators could. As even after bears and saber-tooths were finished with it, there would still be plenty of bone marrow available for the wolves. In this regard, the direwolf has a lot in common with the spotted hyena, being a powerful hunter that can also pivot to a scavenging playstyle whenever necessary. However, even though they have similarly powerful bone-crushing bites, only the hyena spec'd into the specialized durable molars for crunching on bone.
So stronger teeth.
Direwolves have much less specialized teeth, made more for just general meat shearing and inflicting bleed damage. Even with their higher bite force, over-reliance on bone crunching resulted in direwolves burning through the durability of their primary weapon, dulling its effectiveness in future combat scenarios. This was a massive long-term liability, and as a consequence, the direwolf unfortunately had a very low lifespan compared to the grey wolf.
I mean, note this is based on available data from Fossil, which may have not been effective.
Obviously, the meta has shifted a lot since the Ice Age. So what would the direwolf's matchup spread look like now?
Yeah, a lot of the animals now are straight bitch made. You know, back in my day, in the current meta with like oxygen being, widely plentiful, it was really competitive, right? Now it's just so soft. The game now has just gone very soft. A lot of refereeing, a lot of crying and complaining. You know what I mean? But back in my day, when you could die from like measles or like the flu was, game over, it was a real deal. That was comp, bruh. We had real game changers. But now it's just soft now. So the direwolf might dominate this meta.
Well, the biggest change between then and now is the lack of megafauna. Gigantism is simply not seen as being necessary in the game's competitive landscape anymore, and so tailoring your character specifically to counter that type of build just isn't that potent of an advantage now. In fact, I would guess that their lower agility would offset any power advantage direwolves would bring to the table. Most of the current meta's key herbivores, like deer, rely solely on speed and perception to survive, and would be very difficult for a slower, bulkier wolf to catch. But with that said, direwolves would have a much easier time protecting any quarry they did manage to bring down. While grizzly bears would of course remain a threat, the matchup is nowhere near as much of a blowout as the short-faced bear was versus direwolves.
Well, I mean, like, the grizzly bear is always a fucking threat. It's a goddamn grizzly. You know, like, I don't think y'all understand how terrifying grizzly bears are. How do you know? I watched the Joe Rogan experience. I know how scary grizzlies are. All right, buddy.
In fact, even a pack of gray wolves can sometimes hold their own versus brown bears. And the direwolf's main adversary, the saber-tooth, has no modern analog in the North America server. Large cats are essentially a non-factor, while mid-sized cats like the puma would be obliterated 1v1. However, the last matchup they need to worry about is a lot more interesting.
Which one?
What would the matchup be like between the direwolf and the grey wolf?
Ooh!
On its surface, it might seem like an obvious blowout. Direwolves are more powerful and can take more damage. And sure, in 1v1 combat, I don't think there'd be any doubt which character comes out ahead. But in terms of survival, the equation shifts dramatically. Direwolves were already struggling during the Ice Age. They were a popular pick for sure, but for many of the reasons already discussed, they were no top tier. Their core strategy only works well in a server filled with slow, giant targets. Grey Wolves, on the other hand, have much more flexibility in their diet.
So the game now is just way more competitive, alright, old man? Honey, dude, did you just say the game? Shut the fuck up, alright? I didn't say nothing. Alright, it's not on film. Actually, honey, dude, it kind of... Shut up. Alright, so the game now is way more competitive than yesteryear. Alright, tell that to Michael Jordan fans.
When the opportunity arises for a pack to come together and bring down a large beast, Grey Wolves of course can and do rise to the occasion. But because of their smaller stature, they can subsist on smaller prey when necessary. Builds like the rabbit, beaver, and even fish can fill the gaps if there's ever a lack of large prey on the server. Direwolves, in addition being too
So they all need, like, direwolves need the bigger
slow to reliably catch agile sprinters like rabbits, would not be able to thrive off of that diet. There's a reason that most other large predators function at least partially as generalist omnivores, with a broad skill set that can make use of a wide variety of food sources.
I wonder, has a bear ever... I know about cocaine bear, but, like, has any other bear ever, like, ate, like, a weed plant? Oh, and I get an ad.
There was a time when
I asked the wrong questions and the YouTube government got me.
barely knew how to turn on a computer. Now, I'm a cybersecurity specialist.
Wait, you didn't know how to turn on a computer? Wait, I think it says it right there, bruh. Okay, you know, Maricela? Yeah, congrats. But, like, damn, you didn't know how to turn on a computer? Okay. More power to you.
Lastly, there's one final major difference between the Ice Age meta and the modern meta.
What?
And that is the centralization around the human
humans
build. The Grey Wolf is the literal best example in the game of a character that turned the threat of the new top tier into an opportunity, becoming the human's first choice for party member and hunting teammate. This is primarily due to the wolf's intelligence, exemplified by its ability to cooperate. Cooperate with its wolf teammates, cooperate with ravens asking for help chasing away rivals from carcasses, and of course cooperate with humans looking for help guarding their camps and chasing down prey. Direwolves were less cooperative, even with each other. With direwolves being both less intelligent and requiring more food to survive, it's unlikely they'd have ever been able to slot into a human's party. So ultimately, I do
a counterpoint, Mr. Zoo. Ark Survival Evolved, buddy.
believe the wolves already established in the meta will be able to hold their ground against these fearsome Ice Age predators. After all, they did it
Get wrecked, scrub. All right, this unk-ass wolf, bro. Who in 2025, someone is saying get wrecked, scrub. What are you going to say? XD? RAR? Yeah, buddy, you die. Hey, bro. Prepare for your 24-hour shift. Prepare for your 12-hour shift, old man. Get wrecked, scrub. Ugh. Somebody's uncle. Yeah, get this. Someone told me to get wrecked, scrub in the big 2025, bro. I ain't gonna lie, gang. I don't even know what I do. Yeah. I can just see myself going like, I go negative, right? I'm going negative on Call of Duty, and someone's grandfather, or like dad or uncle hops on. I'm like, get wrecked, scrub. I gotta prepare for my 12-hour unpaid shift, lover. Soft ass hands, boy. Get wrecked. XD. Alright, buddy, wanna go play Nyan Cat? Hit the cat daddy?
it once before. Grey Wolves were added to the game around the start of the Ice Age, and survived through the entire glaciation period and into modern day.
Glaciation.
There's little reason to expect these resurrected direwolves
How many times did teachers listen, old man?
would fare any better against the tried and true Grey Wolf now. Or is there?
Wait, what?
The fundamental assumption we've been making for this whole video
is that it's the same direwolf. They're about to make changes. They're about to make the junkets like Broly, but for wolves. The Broly dog.
that these newly modded characters are in fact authentic direwolves.
They're not.
But how exactly did this group of data miners and modders go about reversing the removal of direwolves from the character select screen?
Imagine they filled the missing genetic code with that of like a raccoon. So no, they filled the genetic genome or like the modding code with like human DNA. So these direwolves can now walk on like they can walk on their legs.
You could be forgiven for assuming they simply got their hands on a former direwolf player's old save data and just copy-pasted the entire thing onto a fresh save file.
I really wonder, what if someone like gave the genetic code for like, I don't know, who's like a chopped guy, like Cuffum or like Yusuf. You feel me?
If they'd done that, I would completely agree that they had indeed re-added the direwolf full stop. But no, if you take a look at the modder's dev blog, it appears their actual methodology was to take the Direwolf's game data and edit it to buff the Direwolf in a few specific areas, to make it similar in size and power to the original Direwolf. Now, whether or not this counts as a true
So, essentially, a Direwolf on roids.
Direwolf is kind of up to your own interpretation.
Would y'all count it as a Direwolf? I don't know. I think I just counted it as a roided out Direwolf.
If you modded a horse to give it a horn, did you make a rhino? If you
Or a unicorn.
modded a beluga whale to give it a tusk, did you make a narwhal? I could kind of see both sides of the argument here, but what I think is more important for our discussion is that these modders don't seem to have programmed in any of the Direwolf's former limitations.
Imagine a Direwolf, like the Direwolves they made, just like are stupid as fuck. It's walking backwards.
They buffed the wolf's size and strength, sure. They even gave it a stark white coat, giving it a huge stealth bonus on snowy terrain, similar to the polar bear. But as far as I can tell, they did not
Thicker, muscular legs.
nerf its mobility by giving it proportionally shorter legs, nor did they nerf the wolf's intelligence by giving it a proportionally smaller cranial cavity. And this is where I do think there's a genuine risk of these modded characters becoming broken,
Ah, shit.
either in the overpowered sense or legitimately unplayable sense. They could be extremely overpowered, possessing all the advantages of the dire wolf with zero trade-offs. But it's also possible that this modded build is so overtuned that its energy upkeep costs will be completely unmanageable.
So that's a result of eating humans.
Brain size in particular is one of those traits that can easily sink a build if the payoff doesn't materialize, as brain size is one of the most calorically demanding traits in the game.
Unless you're a dumbass. So canonically, with this logic, are all like people with like the IQ of 5, like the most the most energetic people of all time? Like, imagine if like a guy, like, I don't know, like the dumbest guy, who's like a dumb idiot, Hikari from JJK, you know, one of the dumbest people ever. Are they canonically just have the most energy ever?
The original Direwolf player base already
Did he his dick?
ran into this roadblock at the end of the Ice Age, and this was without the increased energy needs of a larger brain. At the end of the Ice Age, the devs patched the game
Why not? Saberwolf got ass.
precisely to punish greedy, overtuned builds like this, and it was the compact efficiency of the Grey Wolf, Coyote, and other small carnivores that kept them in the game while the Direwolf faced extinction. We may never know which of these extremes ends up being true.
Why is the Direwolf about to enter like the Elder? Could anybody go to the Garden of Eden? What the hell? Where the fuck is he, bro? The unemployed friend on a random Thursday, gang. Like, what are you doing, bro? I'm escaping the Matrix, bro. Where the fuck are you at, bruh? The random friend, hey, the random friend when he just started the Minecraft world, gang, and he just in the middle of nowhere. Everyone mining, and like, you know, it's together. Everyone mining, making houses, you know, collecting farm, like, you know, farming and shit. Then you got that one guy just in a random chords. I don't even know where he saw he saw a wolf and tried to follow him, but he didn't have no bones, so he had to go around. And this is where he ended up, gang.
As the modders have so far maintained that these super wolves will only be playable on their private server,
Okay, that's good. Rich guys.
where presumably their massive energy demands will be met regardless of their viability.
That's cool. That's cute.
Anyway, there's still way too much we don't know about these modded super wolves for me to say for sure whether or not I think they're actually going to be overpowered. Even that bit about their increased brain size is heavily speculative. I don't actually know if the code they edited actually results in increased brain size.
They just did the opposite, dude. This brain is the size of a walnut, dude.
From what I can tell, it's at least indirectly tied to brain size.
Dude, imagine they made the Indominus Rex. Just some wild shit, dude. Like, scientists have figured out how to make the Indominus Rex a reality, and they're gonna make an actual zoo. Would you go with your family?
But without directly measuring these super wolves' brain sizes and metabolism,
What if they said, fuck you, Tierzoo? Just shut up, big zoo.
it's impossible to say for sure. If you or anyone you know is a part of this modding community, I'd love to get in touch. They've been hinting at the possibility of doing something similar for the mammoth. So I'll try to keep you all updated on the
That's
latest
so
modding
cool, though. I
shenanigans.
like it. I like it.
Subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks again for watching, and as always, good luck out there.
Okay, what do y'all think about them like bringing back animals and stuff? So they bring it back to Direwolf. The mammoths. I heard the mammoth was coming back way too many times, gang. It's like I don't even know. It's like waiting for Double Pump to return in Fortnite. You know, waiting for that period. I don't even know if it returned or not. I don't play the big Fortnite. You know, that's not my thing no more. Real ones are all rivals. But anyways, you know what I mean? Like, okay, what's an animal you think they should bring back? The Therizino? The Spino? Bro, imagine they bring back the Spino. It's like the accurate one-to-one, like accurate representation of a Spino, and it's like the worst thing ever. It's like slop. It's like lunch lady food. You feel me? Like how schloppo, like how it is in like prison and shit, where they just plop it up. Oh god, Spino. You know, maybe don't bring back the Spino. Let me live in my fantasy. let me live in my fantasy alone. That the Spino was this awesome, hell yeah guy, instead of like this cuck loser that was shoved into the lockers. Not right. It's like realizing your dad wasn't a loser. But yeah, man, that was cool. Damn, Cuddy. Hey. Damn! Oh my god. That was cool, bro. That was cool. All right. Oh, behind the scenes. I'm breaking the fourth wall. Truman Show. Okay, that's gonna wrap up today's video, bro. Shout out the Big Zoo. The Big Zoo. I'm loving these Tierzoo videos, obviously, bro. I'm loving the Big Zoo. I'm loving it. But that's gonna wrap up today's video, bro. If you liked the video, let me know. Go fuck. Bye.